Hey, it's Dr. Schmidt. So I want to go over this very broad general term about stress and brain function. And I don't typically have such a broad title for my videos, but I can get into very specific solutions. The point here is like stress is attention exerted onto you from adverse events or maybe a demanding event like studying for a final exam or having a job interview or something like that. So the point is you can experience these things. And the question is your body and your brain having difficulty physically and biochemically with that stress? So when you are healthy and maintaining the structure of your body with a adequate protein or more than adequate protein and fat enough to feed your brain. And I mean, you can be in ketosis, eat low fat, and you're burning the fat off your body. And just as long as you're being able to feed your organs well, you can handle these stresses much, much better. And I was talking to a patient recently who's actually from India. And I said, that when I see people from India here in Michigan, their diet is very inflammatory. Rice, and there's sugar, and roti, which is a form of their bread. And I said it's like eating fire. You're causing inflammation throughout, and it's damaging all your tissues. So that's an example of destroying your tissues and not being able to handle stress. Now I talk about this all the time on the wall here, and like I said, you can actually buy this as a poster. You can contact us at the office and you can get this poster right here. And there's different causes, right? So the sugar is one problem. Pathogens cause stress. So when I had mold, I had these physical symptoms, and I was flying from Michigan to Utah for a seminar. I didn't know I had the mold, but I had all these heart symptoms, high blood pressure, and I was trying to pick a movie on the seat back of the seat in front of me, and I couldn't pick any action, drama, violent. I had to pick something that was like sort of lame because I couldn't handle the stress of watching a dramatic or action movie, because I knew that it would increase the chest pain, the heart pain. And then toxins. So toxins cause people to get really depressed and slow, and it slows down their whole body. Think of a thermometer, and that mercury goes up and down in an old school thermometer really slowly depending on the temperature change. So when people are filled with mercury, they're kind of like robots. I've seen dentists that are just filled with mercury, and they act slow, they move slow, they look at you slowly, and it's hard for them to come out of that gaze, out of that stare, and snap out of it, and then change the subject or look somewhere else. So anyways, that can increase stress, right? Stress. So a high demand or adverse event creating tension on you. So anyways, there's all these things to do to increase the viability of your tissues and your organs so that you can handle stress. Now let's talk about the brain specifically though. And then I'll get to the questions. Thank you for the questions. No, we do not sell Precision Extra. We do sell Keto Mojo, and anybody can buy them. You don't have to be a patient to buy Keto Mojo on our website. Okay. Now, when we talk about various conditions that people experience with poor health, there's a lot of information and a lot of tools, if you will, to do the third step, which is to feed the organs. This maroon or purplish step is feeding the organs to get rid of symptoms. And to fix these first two, there's a limited number of supplements. And so let's talk about the third circle right there. Like what can you supply to your body to feed your nervous system, to feed your brain, so that you can better deal with stress? All right, so I'm going to run through these supplements, and some of them I'd probably say most of them are available on Amazon, but some are not. Okay, so RNA, this is called ribonucleic acid from Standard Process. That is brain food, and that especially feeds the cerebellum. So you can have cerebellum fatigue and tiredness causing dizziness, dyslexia, sleep apnea, brain heaviness, headaches back here, neck pain. And that all, if you have that as a combination, chances are you're going to benefit from RNA. plus detoxing, plus killing pathogens, plus fixing the mechanism of chronic health problems. Okay, so moving on. This is Pro DHA from Nordic Naturals. Pro DHA. DHA, there's two workhorse nutrients in fish oil, DHA and EPA. DHA is calming and EPA is uplifting. Okay, simply put. So maybe you need some EPA. Anyways, the ratio of DHA to EPA in this supplement, I believe it's 4-1. And the ratio, okay, 960 milligrams of DHA and 410 milligrams of EPA. So 2-1, DHA over EPA. There's another one called Omega Bright, which we also sell, and I think it's on Amazon, and that's like a 5-1 ratio of EPA over DHA. So it's very uplifting. It gets people out of bed, resolves their depression if these oils are out of balance in your body. All right, iodine is super, powerful for the thyroid. Every single cell in your body needs iodine. It makes your muscles strong. It makes your body strong. It makes people, I've seen people have higher IQs. They talk faster. They comprehend faster within weeks of taking iodine. So people can walk around saying, yeah, I'm stressed. I don't have a job and I live with my parents and I can't pay for these visits. And I give them iodine and they come back and they're not stressed anymore. And they're looking for a job and it changes their life. It's really amazing. This is Neuroplex. It's got brain in it from Standard Process. And it's a collection of glands and vitamins. And so like there's Spanish moss. That's the moss that hangs from trees in the southern part of the United States. And that's filled with minerals. Bovine orchic, which reduces stress. Porcine brain. It's got pig brain in it. If you want to feed your brain, eat brains. That's what our ancestors used to do. But for some reason, people think that's gross. And if you think it's gross, just take the pills. That way you don't have to taste it. All right, here's Cataplex B. So this fixes the mechanism of chronic disease, and then it feeds the nervous system to give it energy. And then the brother of Cataplex B is Cataplex G. Again, it feeds fixes lactic acidosis, the most common mechanism of chronic disease. And then it feeds the nervous system over here, and it's calming. So racing heart beat, anxiety. If you hear your pulse in your pillow, like you lay down, so Cataplex G fixes all that. Cataplex B gives you energy and helps you get over sugar cravings, that kind of stuff. All right, this is a supplement from MediHerb called rhodiola and schisandra. These are two herbs that are, let me pull this out. These are two herbs that really give people a lot of energy. It's really cool to watch their improvements when they start taking these. Let me see if it's even in this catalog because it's actually pretty new. Yeah, here it is. So rhodiola and schisandra. Now it has this is the catalog. It's got a list of bullet points right here. Maintain feelings of general well-being when experiencing temporary stress. That is a legal statement, and it's kind of a lame statement. And what they're actually saying is that it helps you deal with stress. It makes you feel better. Okay, help the body adapt to the changes of everyday life. So dealing with stress, support the body's natural defenses against emotional and environmental stressors. So emotional meaning somebody else is a jerk, or maybe you were a jerk to them and now you're feeling their wrath. And then the environmental stressors, that could be humidity, that could be pollen, that could be maybe you just got into a car accident, a minor fender bender, and your neck is all jacked. That can help you with this. Support healthy cognitive function, brain function. Support healthy liver and nervous system function. Help maintain proper energy and support healthy physical performance. Every single statement is backed by research. The research is not typically done in the United States. These studies are done in Australia and Asia and Europe, not really in the United States because we're so pharma focused here. Help maintain healthy emotional balance and work as a tonic to benefit the entire body. So a tonic gives you energy. An adaptogen helps you utilize the energy that you have well, but the tonic gives you energy. And I want to say that this other statement, help maintain healthy emotional balance. What that means is it helps you with depression. But they're not going to say that because the FDA will not allow them to say it helps you with depression, because that'll go against the competition with Prozac, Wellbutrin, Abilify, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. Now its brother is called rhodiola and ginseng, and it'll have similar statements in the catalog from MediHerb. Okay, next one is Ginkgo forte. People think clearer when they're on ginkgo. It opens up the microcirculation and really helps the brain out. And you might be able to find a good ginkgo elsewhere on Amazon or at a health food store. But if you take ginkgo, you don't feel any different, then it's probably not working. Most herbs don't work because the manufacturer doesn't know how to correctly encapsulate them, or dehydrate them, or extract what's needed, or they don't do the tableting process right, or the plants are bad. They're importing plants to their facility and it's not the right species. It was harvested at the wrong time. It wasn't in the right soil, that kind of stuff. So the plants need to be tested once they arrive, and then at several points during the process of the manufacturing, and then at the end to make sure it's actually the right product. And MediHerb does that. Standard Process does that. The companies that I work with do that. This is Systemic Formulas. They do that too. The big box stores like Walmart, Costco, they don't do that. Okay. Another great product is OptiMag Neuro. And I've talked about this a little bit in the past. It's a collection of magnesiums. And there's one in particular. There's magnesium lysate, and there's magnesium L-threonate. That seems to be really powerful for the brain, that particular form of magnesium. And there's D-magnesium malate. But the combination of these is even better than just the magnesium threonate alone. So I've had probably a couple dozen people where they take this and now they're sleeping better. And then you wake up feeling more refreshed, and the stresses of life diminish because you're physically feeling better. Your body's working better, your brain and your eyes. And I wanted to say, when I take ginkgo, I take it because my eyes, the color pops more when I look outside at the sun. I like to take this in the summertime in Michigan because the chrome on a bumper looks brighter and the grass is greener and the water is bluer. This is Bee Brain from Systemic Formulas, and it helps you think better and it gives you brain power. And then Nervogesic, this is from MediHerb, and I'm actually gonna write this. If I set this here, does it stay? No, you can't really see it. Then I got one more after this, and I can answer some questions. Where are we at? We're at 6:23. All right. So Nervogesic, it's also okay. Oh, look at that. It's here it is. Okay, ease temporary mild nervous system discomfort. Provide nervous system support during temporary occasional nervous system discomfort. So we're talking about nerve pain. So this could include headaches, migraines, any kind of trauma to a nerve, including neuropathy, like even maybe possibly diabetic neuropathy. Promote relaxation of the muscles, ease the effects of temporary or occasional nervous stress, provide relief from occasional sleeplessness. You're laying in bed and you're like this, and your mind is racing. Enhance the ability to relax during the night, ease the effects of mild cramping associated with menstruation for women, relieve temporary mild muscular cramps and spasm, and relieve mild nervous tension. So these are, and what does it have in it? It's got California poppy herb and Jamaican dogwood cordialis. So California poppy, they make some drugs and medications from poppy, right? You've heard of that? Opioids, opiates, other drugs that are not legal. But if you have the whole plant, this is the whole herb philosophy. You use the whole plant with all the synergistic compounds that are within it, given to us by nature, and you don't have those detrimental effects. You don't get addictions to it. You're doing the whole plant. And that's one thing that's cool about herbology is you make the product first, then you start using it, and then you see what happens, right? As opposed to in pharmacy, they make a product, then they test it, and then they sell it. Okay. And they have to do it that way because it's extremely dangerous. Whereas with herbology, it's like MediHerb has come up with these some various products throughout their years, and doctors start using them, and it's like, hey, this is what it does. This is what I've seen. And then you can see it in the research then too, and you start testing various symptoms and conditions by giving people that herb, and you see how they fare with it. So that's a cool thing about it. Like the artemisinin, the artemisinin product they have that's from wormwood. I've talked about this before. It kills a wide variety of organisms. Did they know this when they made it? No, they didn't know that. They had an idea because various researchers around the country, around the world, were studying wormwood, and its main ingredient is artemisia. So, but when I'm using it, it's like way more broad spectrum antimicrobial than I could have ever imagined. So that's the cool thing about herbology. The last one is called Neurocin from Systemic Formulas. And it's got a couple, like, let's say the standard, like B6, B1, manganese, and then zinc, right? So it's got those 4 listed. And when you're reading the label on these products, look at the proprietary blend, or they'll use a different name. Here's a cognitive nutrition blend, or, read below what the USDA wants you to read, or the FDA, because the FDA wants to see that the B6 is 4 milligrams and the B1 is 100 milligrams, that kind of stuff. All right, fine. There's all these supplements have all that. But then you look at the blend that this company put together and you read that, and it's like, well, what the heck is that? Where did that herb come from? You can Google it and you search it out, find out what it does. And then here's another section under here. It's got the cognitive nutrition blend and then the cognitive herbalomics blend. Herbalomics is a term that this company coined. I think they got a trademark on that term. And it has to do with herbs plus the bolomics, like metabolic, what's the word I'm looking for? It's related to like an environment, herbalomics. So how does the herb affect the environment of the body, whether that's the microbiome of the brain, microbiome of the gut, microbiome of the skin, and the tissues also. So anyways, there's this cognitive herbalomics blend, and they have, looks like about 10 things in there, including green tea extract, EGCG, ginkgo's in there, and some magnolia. There's other herbs in here that Systemic Formulas works with that I've never even heard of. Okay, cool. So, of course, the diet is always foundational. And sometimes people complain to me about selling expensive supplements that are unnecessary. Wait a minute. These supplements saved my life in 2016, and they save people's lives every day in my office. And they're expensive, sure. If you don't have any money, yeah, they're expensive, but it's all relative, right? So is it expensive compared to medications? No way. These are so much cheaper. And the more your diet is under control, the less you end up spending on supplements. So I have a woman, I just talked to her. She's been weak and unwell for many years, possibly decades. And I found that we ran some blood tests. She has an autoimmune situation against her thyroid. Her scores, her antibody thyroid scores are off the chart. They were over 2,250. And the lab doesn't even go up any higher than that. So I put her on artemisinin, and 2 weeks later, it's like the light bulb turned on, and now her energy's back. Another symptom that went away is that she would eat food, and 1 hour to an hour and a half later, she had to take a 10 to 20 minute nap for years. And that's gone in 2 weeks on artemisinin. Is there a drug that fixes that? No. The drugs are pathetic and crappy. All right. You can quote me on that. Drugs are pathetic and crappy, Dr. Schmidt. That's my quote. Compared to these supplements, compared to really good supplements. Now there's a new movie out called That Vitamin Movie. I think that's what it's called. And Dr. Mercola is involved in it and other people. And I just started watching it. I got 5 minutes into it, and they're talking about niacin. And if I were in charge of that movie, I probably would not even mention niacin, because there's so many other things that are so much more powerful. And yet probably niacin has more research to back it up. But clinically, do I ever give out niacin? No, I don't. I don't ever just give somebody niacin, because it's too simple-minded It's one ingredient, and we want to do more of a complex of things, of vitamins and minerals and herbs. So anyways, I'm just doing a little plug for that vitamin movie. I'll watch it fully. Hopefully I'll love it. And hopefully you like it too. Hopefully it's well done, but we'll see how it goes. So let me answer some questions. Seems like a lot of questions. I got to start at the top. Now remember, this bounces around when I read the questions, so don't be mad at me if I miss your question. There's dark gray, blackish mold everywhere in my bathroom, but haven't experienced a difference physically. Neither has family. Is it always an issue? Yeah, it is. Clean it up. Clean up that mold. Dr. D recommends Keto Mojo. Yes, I do. Hi. Vinegar. Okay. I'm suffering. Okay. Ask me questions about brain function and stress. If one becomes a patient but lives in another state, how would health tests, blood work, etc.? We order lab work. You go to LabCorp and get your blood drawn, and then we get the results. And we do metals testing. It'd be like a 24-hour urine sample where you collect a urine for 24 hours, or sometimes shorter, depending on the test. And then you send in a sample of that to the lab. We don't do hair testing. It's more urine. Any treatment plans for hemorrhoids? Yeah, Collinsonia root from Standard Process and Cataplex ACP from Standard Process for hemorrhoids. So many people get outraged over eating brains or using poop for fertilizer. So many emotion inflators out there. Yeah, let's talk about stress a little bit. I watch YouTube videos. I like to watch political type videos. And one of the biggest stressors is interruptions. So you have somebody interviewing somebody on the street, and then somebody else comes in and they interrupt. That's a tension, And then I was watching one where there was one woman interrupting 3 people. And it's like, you're the problem because you're the one causing stress because you don't have manners. If everybody had manners, stress would go way down for everybody. If you come to my family's Thanksgiving dinner, which you're not invited, but if you come, it goes like this. One person talks and everybody listens. And then another person talks and everybody listens. And that might drive you crazy because you might be used to a family that's like, super like talkative and all that. But that would be stressful for me to be in a room with everybody talking all at the same time. Do specific nutrient efficiencies or chronic short distance eyesight with screen and never looking at the horizon and getting sunlight so it cause eye degeneration more? Yeah. To increase your eye function, you want to make sure you have all the right nutrients. And then when you're looking at a computer screen all day, make sure you look outside, look out a window, and look far away. And then one thing, I had a patient tell me this. She would look at the sun. It's called sun gazing. You can Google this. So just as the sun is coming up over the horizon, look at it for like 5 minutes. So you're not looking at it at noon because it'll burn your eyes out, but just as it's coming up or just as it's setting, look at the sun for 5 minutes. And she said it corrected her vision. Okay. Which supplement would you suggest for insomnia where you can't shut your brain off to sleep? Minchex from Standard Process is number 1. Optimag Neuro can help calm down everything. And then Neuroplex would be number 3. Did I bring Neuroplex? Okay, no, yes, this one, Neuroplex. Okay, Minchex, Optimag Neuro, Neuroplex in that order. Okay. B17, B17, B17. Yeah, so B17 for cancer, right? Lisa Davidson. So here's the deal with that. There's a lot of people still perpetuating this idea that B17 is a cure for cancer. And it's possibly true, but when you look at the bigger picture, there's 50 to 100 B vitamins, and all that research stopped after World War II. And all the B vitamins fix lactic acidosis. And that's what Dr. Otto Warburg got his Nobel Prize for in medicine in 1931, is how to reverse the the metabolism and respiration of cancer cells using respiratory enzymes. That's the B vitamins. So is B17 more important than the other B vitamins to reverse that mechanism? Maybe. But I know a person that went to Mexico to treat his cancer, and they were doing lots and lots of B17, and it didn't fix his cancer. And they did a lot of other things too, oxygen therapies, et cetera. And so, yeah, it didn't work for him. But the bottom line is, I don't think B17 is the answer for cancer. It's more of the bigger picture. As humans, we like to distill it down to the one thing, and it doesn't work that way. You got to know the mechanism. It's like looking at a movie from beginning to end, as opposed to looking at a picture in one snapshot of time. So it's all the B vitamins, and that's where Cataplex B comes in, or Cataplex G. The main sources of food for B vitamins are liver, nutritional yeast, rice bran, and another one that I always forget. Okay, can chewing cocoa leaf lead to addiction? I don't know. Are there supplements to help break alcoholism? Yes, Cataplex B in high doses. I would take 30 a day, and I would take it for months or years. So that's what my recommendation would be for alcoholism. And then eat a ton of meat. Eat as much meat as you can. And you got to get what you're trying to do is your cells are using alcohol as fuel, right? Now, inside your cells, you have mitochondria. You're supposed to be using the mitochondria to make fuel, which is ATP. And mitochondria are very efficient at that. They're awesome. But when you're fermenting alcohol all the time, now you're addicted. Just like other people get addicted to sugar, that's glycolysis. These other ways to make energy are outside of the mitochondria. So get the mitochondria working, turn off the alcohol fermentation, turn off the lactate fermentation, turn off the sugar glycolysis, get the energy production from inside the cell to inside the mitochondria, right? So the supplements that facilitate mitochondrial function, that would be CoQ10, that would be carnitine, that would be fats. And by the way, CoQ10 and carnitine are in meat. Fats are in meat. And then the other thing I wanted to say about that was the B vitamins to clean the blood. I don't want to get further into that, but there's my answer. That's a great question. I've never been asked that question before. I don't really see alcoholics. I don't see them as patients. Okay. Would adrenal fatigue cause fluctuation in blood pressure? Yes. This is another good question. I've just been thinking about this. I'm so glad Whatever It Takes asked this question. So I've been thinking about this in the last 24 hours. When you have adrenal fatigue, that's typically caused by lactic acidosis. It's that bigger mechanism of chronic disease. Okay, remember that. Lactic acidosis is dirty blood. That's hypoxic. Remember that. And then now the cells are starving and they die. What happens when muscle cells die? They tighten up. That's rigor mortis. Here's the killer. What are arteries made out of? They're made out of muscle tissue. Arteries are muscular and they contract with the heart. So when you have lactic acidosis going on and muscular symptoms and the muscle cells are starving and dying, it's true in the arteries too. And then you get blood pressure fluctuations. You get high blood pressure because the arteries tighten up, right? So this is something I realized in the last 24 hours. I've been studying lactic acidosis since 2016. So 3 years, a little bit more than probably 3.5 years now. And it's just like, duh, like arteries are muscular. So yeah, one of the first symptoms of adrenal fatigue, lactic acidosis is blood pressure undulating. It goes up and down. It'll go up with stress. And then you get a fatigue at the same time. That's the adrenal fatigue. Okay, so then people go on blood pressure pills. And what happens then? Now their blood pressure is squashed down, but the blood pressure can break through the drug because the body's needs to live. It's going to do what it needs to do to survive. And then you get this breakthrough high blood pressure. And sometimes the blood pressure goes down too low because of the drug. So now you're manipulating the dosage. It becomes a mess. You got to get to the cause as opposed to just treating the blood pressure, which is only a symptom. Okay. Oh man, that was a big question. Are there good hotels by your clinic? Yeah, just down the road, there's a place called Weber's. It's locally owned. It's a landmark hotel. It's owned by a family, and they have a great prime rib and a pool. And then you can take an Uber from the hotel downtown Ann Arbor. There's all kinds of great restaurants downtown Ann Arbor. There's one called Grange, which is from farm to table. Okay. Okay, Cheezo Pete's. All right, there's a lot of questions here. And it's been a half hour. Okay, I'm gonna end off. So thank you for the questions. I'll go through this. I'm gonna read all the questions and I'll take notes and it'll help me formulate new ideas to study, to think about, and then to talk about in other videos. And I'm gonna keep doing live streams as opposed to recording, because with live streams, there's no editing. And with editing, I sit in bed, I'm like, oh, should I have done that? Does it make sense? Does it go from A to B? And then it could take 4 to 6 hours for me to do one video that's 10 minutes long. But here we just did a live stream for 30 minutes. So plus it's fun because I get to read what you're saying. And then we get some two-way back and forth here, which is awesome. So, all right, cool. So I just gave you a whole bunch of supplements and discussion on brain health and stress, and I hope you liked it. Please make sure you give me a thumbs up. If you want to be a patient, you can call, and we can do distance phone consults. You can come here into the office for a travel package, which is 3 visits in 2 days, or you can do 5 visits in 3 days. That's called the Heart Travel Package. I've done several of those. They've been great. I mean, it's tough too. It's still work. I did have one that didn't turn out so good, but the majority of them have been great. And so there's different options to be a patient in the office, and you can talk to me, or you can talk to one of my 5 other practitioners here in the office. All right, thanks for watching. See you at the next video.